By now you've received one of these instruments. On my right, or your left from your viewing point, this is the tuba. Over here on my left, this is the baritone. Different size, roughly the same instrument. I'm going to go over how to open these cases, how to take the instruments out, and then how to assemble them and maintain them, all at the same time. Let's start with the baritone, a little bit smaller. Now, this case might be a little bit different. Normally there's a name of the manufacturer of the case on top. That way you know what the top versus the bottom is. In this case, we're just going to talk about the latches. I call these flip-ups. Make sure they flip up. Okay, notice how these flip up. If they flip down, then your case is the wrong side, and then you'll have to turn it around. So make sure you don't open it like this, otherwise your instrument will spill all over the place. So, real quick, the latches flip up, make sure they flip up, and sometimes the little retainer ring will slip down on its own. When we open it up, it's your beautiful baritone on the inside. The strap, it might be strapped down, it might look a little different. The bell might be facing straight up rather than out. Either way, still the baritone. We're going to take this out. You'll see it's already assembled. No assembly necessary. It's kind of nice. The only thing we're going to have to do is add the mouthpiece. I'm going to grab that over here because this is one of the things you're going to have to purchase separately. I would recommend buying one from Quinlan and Fabish. They have a definite great selection, and they'll be able to give you exactly what Mr. Kluge and I would recommend for a beginning low brass student on baritone. And it's roughly the same, if not the same exact mouthpiece as the trombone. The other thing you're going to have to buy is a bottle of valve oil. So that's going to just be like a couple bucks, but this is going to last you a while. You're going to need this to lubricate the valves to make sure they travel up and down very well with little to no resistance. So with our baritone, I'm going to show you how. We're just going to hold it. You can hold it with one hand, kind of brace it against your leg. You're going to take this mouthpiece, you're going to put it in the receiver in. You're just going to give it a little turn to the right. And that's going to stay in there. So no matter what I do, it's not going to fall off. No, I don't need to crank it in. It's just a real little turn to the right. Very little pressure, okay? You don't want to ever smack it in there because then it'll get stuck and then you'll need to bring it into either me or to Quinlan and Fabish to have it removed. I'm talking about the valve oil. It's a good idea. Pro brass players do this before every time they play. You want to take the valve oil and notice how there's some shanks here, some stems. You're going to want to put just a little bit. You don't even need to squeeze the bottle. Just a little bit maybe. Usually even just touching the stems, you'll see some of that fluid come out and it'll go down the valves. At that point, you're going to want to work the valves up and down to make sure they move. Very nice. The valves might make a little bit of noise, but that's okay. If they're tough to push down, then we're going to have to open up the back ends. We will deal with that as necessary. Right now, all these instruments are freshly cleaned and maintained from Quinlan and Fabish, so none of you should have this issue. At that point, we're going to take the baritone. You're going to hold it. Left hand is going to kind of hold it up here. You're going to give it a little overhand grip. The right hand, thumb is going to go through this ring. And 1, 2, and 3 are going to go on these valves. Index finger, pointer finger, no finger in the middle, and ring finger on the last. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And then from there, you want to pick up the instrument to you and be able to play it. You do not want to bring your head to the instrument using what I call iPhone neck, right? That's where you're sitting in your phone and your neck, and eventually gets tired looking down like this because you're creating undue strain on your neck. So you definitely want to bring that instrument up to you, which means you might need to have it off your lap. For my case, notice that mouthpiece is at my neck. So I'm going to have to lift it up. I can kind of hold it in my armpit or kind of use my arm to kind of hold it against my body, and then it's ready to play. And from there, you can switch this hand to give it a little hug around here, whatever feels comfy, okay? Generally, I like to hold it right about there. You might want to hold it up a little higher. Either way, whatever's comfy for you. And then from there, you can kind of play it with the mouthpiece right at your mouth, okay? When we talk about putting things away, you're going to want to twist the mouthpiece to the left and remove it. That's that easy. We'll put that down for now because we'll come back to that because we're going to want to make sure that we hold this and we transport it back to our case rather efficiently and safely. So I'm going to get on my hands and knees, or just my knees, open up my case, and at that point the Baritone is ready to put back away. If you do have your valve oil, I want to show you this. I'm going to move the Baritone to the side real quick. There's a little pocket right here, a little box. In there, you can keep your valve oil and your mouthpiece, so for easy storage and access, so you never lose it. And we close that up, and it's ready to go. You might need to mess around with, if you have a smaller bottle of valve oil, it might fit in easier. But then, as you can see, locked up, ready to go. I put my instrument back in. You can, if you want, strap it down tight. I don't think you're going to be really transporting it anywhere. You're going to keep it in your house. If it has that strap and it's kind of a pain, you can leave that. That's okay. We're going to close this up. Make sure, this is the big thing though, is make sure that these latches, the flip-ups, are secure. And from there, your Baritone's ready to go. So we're going to slide that aside. I'm going to show you how easy it is to put the tuba together as well. Very similar setup, just a little bit bigger. Make sure this is laying down. Notice this has Yamaha. You're going to see it upside down, but I know that the case is in its proper position with that facing up. I'm going to open up my flip-ups, open up the case, and we have our shiny, beautiful, brand new tuba in there, okay? You're generally going to want to pick this up, and for this demonstration purpose, I'm on the other side of the instrument, and same as with the Baritone. You're generally going to want to be in front of the instrument like this. So at this point, because the tuba is rather heavy and unwieldy, you're going to want to pick it up with both hands, okay? And you're going to want to hold it and maybe even support it with your leg and your body. Okay, so I'm going to give it a nice hug here. I'm going to reach for my mouthpiece. Again, you're going to have to purchase a mouthpiece from Quinlan and Fabish. They have a general recommendation of what Mr. Kluge and I would recommend on their page. So if you order from the web page, they'll have a drop-down menu of what we would recommend, and the representatives there, their sales representatives, will be able to help you too because they have everything written down in their database. I will put the mouthpiece the same way I put it in the Baritone until I receive some pressure from the receiving pipe, and I'm going to give it a turn to the right. That should hold it in there. It's not going to fall out. From that point, you might need some help if you're smaller to kind of get into your seat. Ask mom or dad to help you, because if you drop this, it's a very heavy instrument. If it lands on the belt, it's going to dent it and possibly break it, so be careful with that. If you watch the Baritone segment, the valve oil would be the same. Notice this valve 1 is sticking a little bit, so it might need a little oil, or actually it looks like it just needed a little exercise and work. It's moving clearly now. But without opening the Baritone case, you'd want to apply valve oil before you play every time. Okay, so be careful and make sure you apply valve oil to the stems just to make sure that everything moves freely. Now, your right hand, your thumb is going to go underneath this little crook here, this little bend, and then your fingers are going to go valve 1, 2, and 3. And that's going to be your right hand position. Right thumb under here, fingers 1, 2, and 3 for those valves. Pinky really doesn't do anything, it just kind of hangs out. So from there, you can sit, keep it on one leg. For me, I'm a little bit taller. You might need to put it on your chair if you're shorter. If I put it on my chair, the mouthpiece is at my chest. That's not going to work for me. So I need to put it up on my leg, and from there I can play. I bring the mouthpiece and I adjust the instrument to me rather than adjusting myself to the instrument. Same thing applies with the Baritone, the iPhone neck, or kind of changing your body to kind of match the tuba. You want to adjust the instrument to you. So you want a nice, good, straight back, feet planted on the ground, not on tippy toes, and you want about shoulder width apart, pretty comfy, like you'd be sitting watching TV, and then you'd be able to play. Okay? From that position, let's say I'm done playing, I'm done with my lesson. You would want to undo the mouthpiece, give it a little twist to the left, that is ready to remove. One thing I want to talk about too, you never want to smack your mouthpiece into the instrument. Now for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you, because of course some of us will be curious. If you listen, it kind of makes a funny noise. The problem with that funny noise is that eventually, if you smack this hard enough, it will get stuck inside the instrument. And once that happens, you're going to have to bring it to either me or Quinlan and Fabish and have it removed, which is a big pain in the butt and more time out of your parents' day. So please do not smack that in there. Granted, I know accidents do happen, so if this falls and lands on there, feel free to bring it into me and I'll be happy to help you out. Twist it to the left, mouthpiece comes out. I'm going to put that aside for right now. I'll just put it on the floor, no problem. All right, make sure we don't drop it so we can bend. You can see this has been through a couple students, so you don't want your mouthpiece shank to look like this. It'll affect tone, but if it does, get bent again, you can bring this to me and I can fix it. But you want to make sure you're gentle and you take care of things that are precious and expensive. All right, so putting our tuba away, again, we're going to want to handle this with both hands. And you can see sometimes the tuba case goes back to like an angled position. So you might need to kind of push this down, hold it down, or if that's too much trouble, or say mom and dad aren't home or no one's able to help you, make sure you take both hands. I would support the bell and the bottom. If that seems too hard, then try to grab both ends of the tubing here. And then you're going to lay that back on the case like so. Okay, notice how the valves are going down, the lead pipe is up. Notice this cutout is purposely designed to accommodate that lead pipe. Everything looks like it's in its place. Now notice this tuba only goes in one way. Okay, you can only put it in one way. Make sure we don't put in the tuba on this side. It's always on the side with the flip-ups. You can close the case. Notice it goes back to its normal resting position because the weight is distributed that way now. Lift these clasps up, drop the flip-ups down, and you're ready to go. You can put that tuba aside and put it to the side of your bed or wherever you store your instrument, and you're ready to go for the next lesson. All right? See me for the next video, and I will go over how to play and get your first notes. All right? We'll see you next time.